Welcome everybody to Angles and Acids, where we learn things maths and science. In today's video, we're going to look at fractions, and specifically what they are, what they look like, what's some of the terminology that's used when we talk about fractions. And I'm hoping that I can sort of translate a little bit for you so that you can start unpacking. Let's say you've got a question and it's got words, or it's a paragraph question, and you may not realize it's actually a fraction involved. Hopefully some of the terminology or the sort of expressions that I'm using can give you some clues to pick up on, like, oh, okay, I think they're probably referring to a fraction. So what is a fraction? Well, I'm going to give you the basics. They look like this. I've got 21 over 47. The number that sits on the top is called the numerator. It's basically how much you have at present, or how much you're looking at specifically. And the number at the bottom is the denominator. That's basically the total or the whole. So I've got 21 out of a whole of 47. Another way of expressing that would be 21 pieces out of 47, or 21 over 47. And in fact, another way is we can say 21 divided by 47. And in fact, fractions and divisions are related. So here I've got an example, 2 divided by 3. That's the same thing as you can actually imagine that the divide sign, which I've got here in red, it almost looks like these two little dots. They are actually the numerator and denominator from a fraction. So I can basically fill this in. 2 goes on the top because it's the first number of the sequence that I'm looking at here. So 2 divide by 3, so that's 2 over 3. So you can quickly translate them back and forth. Next, I want to show you some examples. Let's have a look at these. So here I've got a few basic shapes where I've cut them into pieces and I've shaded some of them in red. And we can look at the proportions or fraction of how much is shaded versus how much is not shaded. So if you can imagine this first one here, this is a circle. It could be a pizza, it could be a pie, it could be a cake, whatever. I've shaded 2 of them out of the entire whole. So I can express this as a fraction. So I've got 2, oops, my bad. I've got 2 shaded pieces of red out of a total number of pieces. Well, how many total pieces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are a total of 8 pieces in that whole. So my fraction there is 2 out of 8 of those pieces are red. The next one below here, I've got a bit of a checkerboard pattern or a chessboard, and I've also shaded some of those in red. So I can count there's 5 of those pieces, so 5 red pieces out of the total pieces, which is 9. So I've got basically 5 out of 9 squares have been shaded red. And lastly, we can do that for the opposite case. So depending on what the question might be asking you, it might be asking you how much there is versus how much there isn't. And so this is basically the reverse. So I'm looking at the non-shaded squares now. So these are the white ones. So I've only got 4 of them out of the total of 9 squares. So those are my basic fractions. Next, I'd like to walk you through some of the types of fractions that you'll encounter in different questions. And the nice one is that we have proper fractions. Now, proper fractions are technically where the numerator is a smaller value than the denominator. But I don't think you're going to remember these sort of terms. So for me, I like to think of a proper fraction as where the base, the number on the bottom is bigger than the top, kind of like a pyramid where it's nice and fat on the bottom to give it a nice stable base, and then you get a smaller bit on top. Keeps it nice and balanced. If we look at the other case, that's called an improper fraction, where it's a greater value on the top than there is on the bottom. And for me, it looks like an upside down pyramid. So like, oh, that's not right, that's improper, that's not a proper pyramid. So that's just what I'm doing in my head visually. So if I see the numbers too big on the top, I know that's going to be an improper fraction. And the last one we have here is a mixed number. A mixed number is, for me, it's kind of like you've got too much at the top there of your improper fraction. So what if we just take a little bit of that off and then set it down on the ground in front? So here I've literally taken away, this is actually the same value. Oops, let me just get my brush tool here. This is actually the same value as this one, except I've taken some away from the numerator. So I had 10 up there. I can take 7 out the front. That gives me 7 over 7, which gives me 1 whole, and then the remainder of 3 pieces left. So that gives me 3 over 7. So I will talk more about mixed numbers and how to use them in a future video, but I just want to point out to you what they are and what they look like. And that's basically it for this introduction on fractions. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've gotten a bit of exposure to proper, improper, and mixed fractions. And in the next video, I'm going to look at, I forgot. So wait and see, I'll tell you what is happening. You could probably click on the video right about here. I'll probably put a little box for you. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, bye.